We're going to talk with David. He, him, wants to talk to us a little bit about the origins of the cosmos. Hey, David, you're chatting with Richard and SR. What's up? Hey, David, you there?
Hey, yes, I'm here.
Awesome, man. Well, tell us what you believe and why you believe it. I'm assuming you think the origins of the cosmos have something to do with God.
Yes, I do believe that God has something to do with it.
Yeah, why do you believe that? We'll cut right to it. Why do you think that? I don't think that. Why do you think that?
Because I don't find any evidence for any natural origins.
So what evidence do you have for God? Just because you haven't found any evidence for natural origins, why would you then choose another answer? Like, I haven't found any evidence that my TV works when I pour water on it. I have no evidence for that whatsoever. But now I believe if I pour Sprite on my TV, it'll work. Why? Why are you in that boat?
Yeah, well, I'm not denying history. All of history promotes some type of deity, so I'm not.
No. Hang on. We don't need to go anywhere else. This is real simple. You said you haven't found any good evidence to believe that the origins of the universe come from a natural means. I'm just willing to grant you that right now for the sake of this conversation. Okay, David? But what I'm asking is then it sounds like the distinction would be that you have found evidence to accept that God is a part of that origins of the universe. Is that true? Am I just misunderstanding?
Yeah.
Or do you also not have evidence?
Yeah, I find overwhelming evidence for God.
Awesome. Perfect, man. That's what I thought you were saying. That is what I thought you were saying. Okay. So good. No evidence for natural origins. I'm with you. I don't agree, but I'm with you. Okay. So then we've got evidence for God. What is that? Just pick one thing. What is it?
Well, all I needed myself personally was just to read the New Testament, and that was sufficient evidence for me.
How does the New Testament provide any evidence that God created the universe?
Because Jesus said, I created all things.
Okay, so just to be clear, I'm just trying to shout back what you just said to me, which is there's a character in a book that I read that said something, and that's why I'm accepting it. Now, we can go on to say, hey, look, Jesus was actually a real person, SR. Like, he was super duper, super real. We have really good historical, archaeological evidence for that. But currently, where we're at right now is there's a book that exists. In that book is a character, is some type of human being that's being described in this book. They've called him Jesus. And that character said that they did this thing with the origins of the universe. Is that your chain of reasoning thus far?
Right. So let's start from this, okay?
Well, hang on, David. Just a simple yes or no will really work out, because like just a second ago when we did this thing and you didn't want to say that you had evidence for your side, right? I think you're saying like, yeah, Elliot, actually there is good reason to believe that Jesus was a real person and like we have good historical evidence and stuff. I think we're going to go into that in a second here, but I just want to make sure I'm up to the same page with you thus far. You read a book, there was a character that said a thing, and that's why you believe it, right?
Do you want evidence or do you want to talk?
I want you to answer the question so we can actually get to this evidence, because so far you don't have anything, David, and I'm trying to do my best to help you bolster your side as much as possible. What I often find in these conversations is that your side doesn't really have a lot to stand on, and I'm trying to help you get better arguments. So,
David, what is the functional part of David? I'm going to be real quick and then I'm going to let you respond. What is the functional part of the evidence? Is it that Jesus spoke words, or is it something else?
Thank you, Richard.
I called about the origins of the cosmos, and if I keep letting you ask questions, then we're never going to get to the evidence, are we?
I've just
Yes,
asked
we
you
will.
what the evidence is. I've literally just asked you what the functional part of the evidence is.
If you answer the questions, I promise you, we're getting to the evidence. This is how one does it. So answer Richard's question. What is the functional part of this evidence? Is it person in a book says a thing, or is there something else to it?
Well, look, if we start from zero evidence, let's say I just don't know crap about crap, okay? And now I'm given a bunch of information. Okay, you give me information about old cosmos. I get information from the Bible or, Hinduism or whatever else, okay? I have to now decide what is true evidence.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're doing that wrong.
And I've still not heard any
wrong.
function to that, what the functional part is.
No,
is it that you said that Jesus said the words, this is what you said earlier on, Jesus said the words, and that is evidence to you. Is Jesus speaking the words? This is what Elliot was trying to ask you.
Thanks,
is
Richard.
Jesus speaking the words the functional part of the evidence? Is a person saying something in a religious text functionally evidence? Is that the functional part of the evidence?
Yeah, because I have to judge the evidence by reality, and my reality says that what Jesus says means that he's God.
So it sounds like to me.
Right.
No, go ahead.
In the
Richard.
Tipitaka, the Buddhist Tipitaka, words are spoken which say that the universe didn't have an origin. It has lasted for eternity. For countless eons, forever. So is the fact that those words were spoken proof that the universe has never had a beginning?
Yeah, but that claim does not coexist with science, because science does
so it
not.
sounds like it's not the words in the book themselves that is actually the functional part of the evidence, right, David? Just like I was saying earlier when trying to help you present the strongest case you could before you kept jumping in and interrupting me. But what I was trying to get to is exactly what we've gotten to right here, which is actually, SR and Richard, no. Even though this book does say this thing, it is the extra scientific, historic data that bolsters the words of this character in this book, right? Isn't that what you're saying? Because that is a stronger argument? So you're saying it's literally just because the book says a thing.
Well, you're trying to make an argument that something is true because science agrees with
No,
that.
I'm not.
No,
I'm not.
saying that.
No, not in the slightest. What I am trying to get to is the crux of why you believe. The reason you believe is not just simply because the book says something, because that would be a very shallow faith, one that most likely in your belief system would result in Jesus separating you, not as one of his followers or the great sheep, but no, goat, get away from me, because your faith is not actually deep and true. The reason you really believe the thing about Jesus and God, about the cosmos and the origins, is not because the Bible says a thing. It's because there's all this other information and data over here outside of the Bible that bolsters the Bible's claim. Because if it was just the book said the thing, you would have agreed with the example that Richard gave, right? Because that's a stronger argument, what I've just laid out for you and tried to help you with. Are we just way off base here and your faith is super shallow? I don't think that's true, David.
Wait a minute. So are you going to think for me, or am I going to think for myself here?
I don't think you can think for yourself, David. I think that's the problem, is that you are in the boat of just believing because the book says a thing. And that's what's frustrating me, is because your faith is not one that is well researched. And all of my friends that are hardcore Jesus lovers would look at you and say, David, so sad that David is unable to actually grow in the spirit, actually find beauty and faith in God's message. And I'm sad for you because you will most likely be joining me and Richard in hell. And that sucks, man. I hate that for you. So I'm gonna let you go until you can come back with us. And I really think just have a more robust reason for believing in your faith. Because I know, David, I feel very confident. I would put money on this. I feel very confident your faith is more robust than what you've presented.